Welcome back to KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. This is JR Martinez. Now, all of you know my background, having served in the military, I was wounded, I've really have become one of the voices out in our public eye in regards to, being a voice for the service members and the families that at times feel like they don't have a voice. And I support a lot of great organizations that do a lot of great things. Now, one of the biggest organizations that have been around for years, and one that's actually, it's here in LA. Sometimes you may overlook it because we're seeing a lot of other things that are kind of distracting us at times, but is the USO. The USO does amazing things for our troops and their families. I've done a lot of stuff with the USO nationally and locally in different cities, different markets. And we have the executive director, Bob, and is it Kurkjian?
You got it, JR, Kurkjian.
Kurkjian, I was close, who's the executive director of the USO of the Greater Los Angeles, and he's here to encourage all of you and share with us this cool initiative that they have coming up pretty soon. So, Bob, go ahead, man. This is your mic. You tell us everything that we need to know, and we'll do it.
Hey, first of all, let me say thank you, JR, for everything you do for veterans and active duty members and their families. It's incredible, and everyone at the USO really appreciates it.
Oh, well, thank you. I know you served as well, so not just as the executive director, but also you served as well overseas, so thank you very much for your service.
That's
as well.
True. Thank you. So we have this fantastic program called Barbecue for the Troops, because it's Southern California, and what do people do in summer? They barbecue. They get out there with their friends, their family, their coworkers, and people can find out more at barbecueforthetroops.com. Go on out there.
Barbecueforthetroops.com.
That's right.
Cool.
And so if you're having a barbecue, want to get some friends together, and you want to raise a little money at the same time and raise awareness of the USO, you can go to that website. There's a whole host package in there. There are different things from invitations to ideas to raise money at the event, and you can turn your fantastic summer barbecue into a USO barbecue.
So the idea is just get people, give them a nice reason and add a really cool meaning to the whole thing. Get them out, have a barbecue, have your friends bring in some money. When you collect this money, then you send it into the USO, and then the USO is able to do with those funds. What does your center do for, the troops and the families that go through it? And of course, what service do you provide? I know the USO, on a general terms, what they do, but what is it that your center does more?
Well, the great thing about Barbecue for the Troops is that the money comes back to the local area where it was raised. So if you're here in Los Angeles County or Ventura or Riverside or San Bernardino or Orange County and you're part of USO Greater Los Angeles, which is those 5 counties, that money's going to come back to these 5 counties right here, and we're going to use it to support troops and their families as they transit through our 3 airport centers in Palm Springs, in Ontario, at LAX, and for on-base programming to help families, help troops. They might be dealing with deployment issues. They might be dealing with deployment anxiety. There might be children out there who have parents who are in harm's way as we speak. And there might just be that family who's trying to get through the airport, and they need a little respite from the hustle and bustle of LAX. They come over to our USO between the restaurant and Terminal 2. They got free food, free Wi-Fi, free TV, games, a nap room, places for families, and about 500 volunteers throughout our system in USO Greater LA who make that like home.
And how many troops do actually go through these airports? I mean, how many would you say on a yearly basis, let's just say, or a monthly basis, whatever statistic you have?
In our area in Southern California, north of San Diego, we get about 115,000 troops through our airport centers and families each year. The largest being at LAX, we see about 67,000 plus troops and families at that center, and that's open 24/7, and again, manned entirely by an incredible volunteer corps.
Wow, and that's the great thing that I love about what the USO do. One of the things that they do is that they have a lot of amazing volunteers. I've had, like I said, I've had the great opportunity to do a lot of stuff with the USO, and it always amazes me the amount of people that come out, because everybody knows, everybody is familiar with the USO, but not everyone is 100% necessarily familiar with what the USO pretty much does. Everyone, of course, thinks about the tours and the concerts that they put on, where they'll send, some kind of artist or a comedian or an actress or an actor or somebody that's in the public eye, send them overseas so they can visit these bases. But there's a lot of programs and a lot of resources that they provide, that you provide to to a lot of the service members that are here locally as well.
It's a great point. A lot of people remember Bob Hope. A lot of people think of Toby Keith and the great things he does for the USO, as well as many other entertainers. But it's easy to forget, but far more important in my mind, that there's that private that just graduated from the School of Infantry at Camp Pendleton, and he's shipping out for the very first time in his life to a new assignment, maybe to a country where English is not the first language, maybe to a country where someone's going to be shooting at him pretty soon. And he's all of a sudden at an airport, and he's been trained in 17 different weapon systems, much like I'm sure you were. He is locked and loaded. He can kill someone with a knife or his bare hands if he needs to, but he's never been on a commercial airplane. He's maybe never been in an airport. He maybe got to boot camp and basic school on a bus. Yeah. And he got bused up to LAX, and now he's got a passport in his hand and a boarding pass and 3 sea bags and a backpack. And in those 3 sea bags and a backpack are everything he owns in the world.
Right. And he knows he's going to war. And those are things that you don't necessarily think about, because for me, it was different. Like for me, it was the same in the sense of where I did get bused to basic training. I wasn't on a plane. Now, I had been on a plane before that. But even when I deployed, I was on a plane with a bunch of the guys. So it somewhat made it easier. All you kind of do is just follow the guy next to you. You just act like you know what you're doing. But there's a lot of situations where a lot of them have to travel by themselves. And more importantly, I think, is also, too, when they come home, is that when you come home or you have a layover there, you're by yourself. I mean, no one else really kind of understands you. I mean, and you kind of somewhat to an extent feel isolated. So it's nice to know that there's a center that's open 24/7. That's Terminal 2, right?
It's across from Terminal 2 in the center of the airport, at LAX.
LAX. Now, you have locations in other airports as well.
At Ontario and out in Palm Springs also. Palm Springs primarily serves the Marines at 29 Palms. And our Ontario base does major troop movements. Last month alone, we saw 10,000 troops move through that center.
Wow.
Just in that 1 month. Coming back from training, actually coming back from war, going to war, and all other forms.
Now, you mentioned earlier in the interview, and one of the things that people have a tendency to kind of overlook, they get, they just get overlooked are the families. But within the word families is also the kids who have a mother, who have a father, that have not only deployed multiple times, but maybe are currently deployed. Yeah. What are some of the things that you do to help those kids cope with a parent essentially being at war?
Well, as a dad of 2 myself, I can tell you, I can only imagine how difficult it would be for me to leave my children. I wasn't married at the time, didn't have any children when I went overseas. But now that I do, I can only imagine how difficult it is for a member of the military to leave. But that, I think, pales in comparison to the challenges that a young child faces when their parent goes off to war.
Right.
And particularly if they don't necessarily live in a military community, their mom or dad might be a reservist. They don't get a lot of military community support because they don't live on a base or near a big base. So one of the things the USO does, and we do it really well, and I'm proud to say it, is we've got this United Through Reading program at all of our centers, and any parent, military parent passing through, can record themselves reading a book to their kids.
I've heard about that. That is really cool. I've actually gone into the rooms where the troops can, read the book, and then they send it over to the child, so at least there's some kind of connection that is still happening there, which is pretty amazing. So, listen, guys, just so you know that, they're trying to encourage all of you, of course, to have a great time, to have a great excuse to get together with your friends, but more importantly, support the USO for them to continue to do the things that they have done for years and years and years, but continue, for them to have to continue support so they can continue to do this for years and years and years. So, for all of you, go out there, have a barbecue, get your friends together, raise some money, send it into the USO. You're going to make a difference. And to learn more about that, you go to barbecueforthetroops.com. Is that correct?
That's correct, or they can visit www.bobhopeuso.org.
Okay, cool. And now we'll have that in case you're driving, in case you're looking somewhere else, in case something else is distracting you. If there's no pen, there's no paper, you can go to KFI AM 640.com, go to the JR Martinez page, and we'll have all that information up there for you. It'll make it 100% easy. So, Bob, first and foremost, thank you for what you have done and for what you continue to do. One of the things is it's important to continue to learn how to serve, and you're doing that in a different capacity, and I think probably one of the biggest capacities that you can do. Thank you for what you do as executive director. Thank you for what the USO does, and hopefully we get some people out there to have some barbecues and raise some money so a lot of these troops and their families can benefit from these services.
Thank you for everything you do, JR.
Well, thanks for stopping by, man. This is KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. just in case you were not tuning in the segment before, don't worry. We're back and we're going to refresh your memories, and we're actually going to make a correction on something that I messed up on. So, we're here with Bob Kurkjian, who is the executive director of the Greater Los Angeles USO. And they have this amazing fundraiser opportunity that's involves all of you and your friends and your family and people you like and all these great things. By the way, this is KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio with JR Martinez. So, Bob, because I said barbecueforthetroops.com, but it's really BBQ, which is barbecue, but let's, in case people start spelling out barbecue, it's bbqforthetroops.org, correct?
That's correct.
That is correct. And I know we were talking during the break is also that I know, because I've done stuff with the USO, how it's difficult at times to raise money, especially when you get down to the local, the local facilities. It's not necessarily at 100% at all times attached to the national USO. So I know you wanted to touch on that as well, and kind of hopefully that would give people more of an incentive to have a barbecue and raise some money.
Yeah, well, like I said before, the great thing about this program, even though it's nationally run, the money comes back to the local centers. But one of the things that we like folks to know about is no matter where you give your money to the USO, it's going to be used very well and very responsibly. But if you want your money to be used locally for local troops, for local families, for local kids of local troops, you want to make sure you go to www.bobhopeuso.org, because that is the local USO organization, and we have to raise all our own money to make sure that we can serve those 115,000 troops at our airport centers, probably another 25 to 35,000 troops on base each year, and provide everything from that refreshments and free movies and Wi-Fi at our airport centers to opportunities for troops to go to Dodger games and Galaxy games and fantastic sporting and concert events that we can help underwrite.
And so to go back to the point, you were I know you have two kids, and you touched on that before the break of how deploying, knowing you have two children, would be even more difficult now than it was before, being a single guy. I too have a 14-month-old daughter, and I think about if I was away from her, how difficult that would be. But I remember when I got a tour of one of the facilities, it wasn't in California, it was somewhere else. And when I got a tour of this facility, I really enjoyed, how they were really promoting and finding ways, the USO meaning, for the parent, whether it be a man or a woman that's deployed, to still have that relationship with their child while they're gone. And that program, what is it called again?
United Through Reading.
United Through Reading. And all it is, me sitting down and reading this book, whatever children's book it is, and then they pretty much send the tape over to the family. So that way you play and daddy's voice is still circulating in the child's, head, which is pretty amazing.
And it's a video. So it's not only a voice.
Oh, it's a video. That's right. That is a video.
It's dad on TV.
That is.
Or mom on TV.
That's even cooler.
Maybe.
That's even cooler.
So all of our centers are equipped with that capability, and we've all got these fantastic family rooms where I'll tell you what, JR, sometimes we'll get families who are doing a permanent change of station from the Pacific, whether it's Hawaii or Okinawa or someplace further away, and they're going now to Germany or they're going to the Pentagon back in Washington, D.C., and it's a mom and dad and 3 or 4 kids. And you've probably experienced this, but if the Defense Department books your ticket, it's probably going to take 14 to 20 hours longer than anyone else to get wherever you're going.
So first class.
So, they have a layover at the USO, and I have seen some incredibly relieved parents walk in knowing there's a family room, there's some books, there's some toys for the kids to play in, there's a pack and play or a crib at each location for a little boy or little girl to take a nap in, and everything in our family rooms is absolutely free, not only for use but to take. So I know, and I'm sure you know too, you see a kid and all of a sudden they're attached to a stuffed animal.
Right.
Trying to get that animal out of their hands and back out the door to catch your next plane is a chore.
So okay, Bob. So for the people that are listening to say, man, this is really cool. We really would love to do this, and have a barbecue, but maybe, even though this is what they're promoting right now and it seems really cool, maybe it's just hard right now for us to kind of get some people together and have a barbecue, even though as much as we all want to do it and raise some money. But what are some other things that I can do outside of maybe having a barbecue that can help out, the 3 facilities that you have at 3 different airports, or, just be involved in the different programs that you have?
Sure. Well, on our website, www.bobhopeuso.org, there is a tab right on the first page. The main page says how to help. And you drop that down, you can find out you can find out how to volunteer, you can find out how to give money, you can find out how to support us at different events. And I'm proud to say that we're pretty close to a lease agreement down at John Wayne Airport to open up our 4th USO center. Wow. So if you're down in Orange County and listening to JR's show and you're interested, stay tuned to our website because we'll be looking for volunteers down there too.
And that's what people have a tendency at times to kind of overlook is it's great and we need the financial support. I mean, you need the 50 cents that comes in, you need the dollar, you need the $100,000 if you can't, if you're in that position. But also what we need people that are willing to give their time, people that are willing to, just serve a meal to a family member, to troops, at a barbecue or whatever may be going on, or just to help read a book or to buy a stuffed animal, whatever the case may be.
We have incredible volunteers, JR. I got to tell you, absolutely incredible. We have over 500 of them. One of them out in our Palm Springs Center has been with the USO since about 2 months after it was founded in 1941. She's been a volunteer for 72 years.
Wow. What's her name?
Dory Dunn. And Dory, if you're listening, we love you.
I love you, Dory. I love you, Dory. And what location is she at?
She's out in Palm Springs.
Damn. I was hoping she was at LAX. I'm at LAX all the time. I was going to go stop by and give her just a big hug. I had to make my way down to Palm Springs. Well, listen, man, it's amazing what you're doing. I really applaud. Again, everybody go to bbq4thetroops.org. And the 4 is FOR. bbqfor thetroops.org. Again, if you miss it, KFIAM640.com. Go to the JR Martinez page. We want to encourage all of you to have a barbecue. Invite me, invite Bob, invite Mo, invite the whole KFI family. Maybe we can do something. Who knows? Maybe I'll stop by. I like chicken personally. I'm trying to be healthy right now, so just give me protein right now and keep the rest of the stuff. You can serve that to everyone else. If you can't do that, just go to the
BobHopeUSO.org.
Bam. Go to that page, and there's a How to Help tab. Get involved, volunteer, give some money, support our troops, support the USO here in your area, in your hometown. This is KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio with JR Martinez.